action. All right, this is what we worked on in the class together. It's point. Point is an object. Notice I can use the editor to clarify things. I click on this little minus sign, and suddenly the entire point class disappears. I can click on main, and main disappears. It allows you and I to organize our structures. There's programs and functions, they get really large and difficult to look at. I just want to look at point now, so I'm going to leave main shrunken, click on point, and take a look. I notice that when I click near this brace, its mating brace on the bottom highlights in light blue. I don't know if you can see it on the front screen. I had clicked here, but this highlights in light blue here. It's telling me where the object begins and the object ends. It's helping me see that everything in between is a member of point. So I feel kind of secure, and this is sometimes programmers do stuff like this. Look at those dashed lines. I'm doing that so that I know where the end of this object is really quickly. I don't have to look for this tiny semicolon here. There it is. Boom, a nice marker. It's almost like having chevrons there if you wanted. Chevrons are these things, right? Comment, comment, chevron, 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 chevron. You sometimes see them painted on the ground. But I like this. This is very programmer-like. You can box things in graphically just to make life easier on the eye. So I look at this object called point, and I see I have 1, 2, 3 constructors. I'm using the more fancy way of initializing x and y. I'm saying if you don't tell me, you don't give me any data, I'm going to set x equal to 0 and I'm going to set y equal to 0. That's it. I'm not going to do anything else. That is why when you look up here, you see the open close brace, there's nothing there. I can do anything I want there. I can write a whole program. But that is not the point. Next, suppose you give me a point and you say, you know, I want it to be certain numbers. I don't want it to be 0, 0. So if you give point, when you create it, 2 numbers, the first one will be called A, the second number will be called B. It'll take the first number and move a copy into X. It'll take the second number and move a copy into X, and then do nothing. It is a constructor. Next, this is a famous constructor. It's called the copy constructor. It says, I want to make a copy of things like me, other points. Now, technically, you should probably put the word cons right here, which is a safety. It says, don't let anybody accidentally change P, because this ampersand sign means passed by what?
Reference.
Reference. That's dangerous. Passing by reference means somebody could do this. P dot x by accident equals 0. Whoops. P dot x equals 0. Semicolon. That will actually, if I don't put that in, it will wipe out P's x. And I'll wonder what's wrong with my program. Why is it acting so weird? This is sort of a contractual agreement. It's basically saying, don't let anyone accidentally change P while they're working on this program here. Now, I could write this another way. I could write it using this technique if I wanted to. I could say colon, x parenthesis P dot x and y parenthesis P dot y. And this would not be uncommon because it's such a simple thing that a lot of programmers would say, yeah, no problem. Now I can get rid of this. To make sure that there's no problem with this, I'm going to try and build. Some of the code I show you works with only 2 2011, so we go to Project, Build Options, and make sure you click on the 2011 box. I'll show you later on Visual Studio, or I'll post it if you ask me. So now I have 3 constructors that will help me build a point 3 different ways. Next, I want to be able to use this point. And we have a function called distance. It's an instance method. You could call it an instance function. Nobody would really get too upset. I don't get upset. So distance is a function inside our class, inside our object. It takes one parameter, a point. And this is kind of dangerous, isn't it? I just said point P. Somebody could accidentally, when they write this code, change it. So here too, it's probably smarter to say const. And here we turn around and do our calculation. We take my x, and you'll see some people write this word, this. In Java you say .x. In C++, I said, there's an x here. What x am I talking about? I'm talking about this x. I'm talking about what x? This x. If you don't say it, it assumes it's this x. This will work even if you leave off the word this. It will work because the compiler would assume you mean this x, not some other crazy x. But if you like, many programmers will do this just to show off. And when we really want to show off, we can do this. This is the same thing, but nobody likes this one here. This method is so confusing to look at. Remember we talked about pointers?
Mm-hmm.
This is This is the preferred method. This is just saying I'm a beginner and I'm showing off. So here I have my this x and this y. Notice the x over here. The x on this side comes from what variable? Where is this x coming from? From P, yes?
The pointer.
Well, no, it's not a pointer, it's from this reference.
From that reference.
This x is inside the pointer P. So I can't say this. It's not this x. It's the one inside what? P. This y is the y inside what? P. Is it this y? No, it is not this y. It's the y inside of P. This y here is the y inside of P. I do the calculation. Here's an x. If I want, I could say this x. And I could say this y.
There's a typo. Yeah.
However, it's automatic. The compiler or C++ will assume you don't mean anything crazy. It'll say you mean the local x and y inside this class. And of course that is what we mean. Now I'll move on to the main. Well, here let's move on to main. Here in main I create 2 points. Point A positioned at 1010. Point B positioned at 2020. These points could come from radar data, EKGs. I don't know where the data is coming from. And it's not the important idea. The important idea is that we have in our minds, like on a graph, 2 points. And I want to look at those 2 points. So now I can say, because I wrote a function called show, show is simply a shortcut for this whole thing. So now when I run this program, build and run, you will notice it shows me A, 1010, and B, 2020. Now I might not like doing this. I might say to myself, you know, I really want to do this. Cout A, and this looks really fun, and B. That's the way I want to do it. Whoa. So I need a way of doing this, and there is in C++. There is a way of doing this in C++. I've commented out because it won't work now. I can try it. Ouch. Basically, it's saying it has no idea how to show you A and B. That's cout, cannot bind. Bind, it means it has no way to connect with A and B to print anything for you. It says, I don't know what you're talking about. So, there is a technique where we can create a function that's our friend. We can say friend, if I can spell friend. Notice it lights up. Inside the class, I'm going to create a friend. And the friend will be OStream, reference, operator. I have this memorized. This is the symbol for cout. This is what cout uses, this operator right here. See it? Look up. The chevrons, it's called the insertion operator. Insertion, insertion, insertion. When you and I type this line of code right here, this is what the compiler kind of sees. The compiler kind of sees this. Operator, cout, and a long string of stuff. The operator kind of, the compiler actually kind of looks at things like this as it's a function. You're used to seeing functions sort of like that. You see things like this. 2 plus 3. Oops, 2 plus 3. That's not 2. 2 plus 3. 2 plus 3. Another way of writing 2 plus 3 is I could say operator add 2 comma 3. This is what C++ actually does do for us. So when you and I write 2 plus 3, the computer says, oh, you want me to use the add function to add the numbers 2 and 3 together and give you an answer. I will do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use basically this function and override, well not override, but add to it. So I'll say, my friend, the OutStream operator looks like this. OStream, ampersand, we'll call it out, the data I'm sending out. That's going to be this function later, cout, comma. This whole thing is a string. Char. This is. I think I'm getting sidetracked here. I think it has to be constant string, and we'll call it. I don't think I have to even give it a name. This is a prototype. It says if you see anything that looks like this, which is basically cout. Cout is my friend. And what I want to put here is not a string, which is this. What I want to put here is the following. I want to put a point right here. So I'm going to say point ampersand P. So what I'm saying is if I ever try to output with cout a point, it's allowed. So here's how I have to program it. Copy, paste down here, Control V. I say return. I have to give this a name, without a doubt, out. I said out. I like the word out. Out. Quote, this will be cout. So what I'm basically going to do is just copy this. Put that down there. Now, I have to tell you where I'm getting x. So x is inside P, and the y is inside P. Now, before I said, you know, they're private. They're private. But when you say something's your friend, it doesn't matter that x and y are private. See if I have any bugs in here. If I have bugs, I'm just going to like, oh, All right, let's open the door here. Let's see if this works. In fact, to show you it works, I'm going to get rid of these two. Goodbye. Goodbye. There's a better way to do this, but this is right off the point, right off the bat. So by using this thing here, and you memorize this, it basically says if you want cout to work with your objects, with your data, you say friend, and you copy this down, and you put your data type right here. And then you, outside the function, you write this, you say return out, and what do you want it to say? I want it to put a parenthesis, p.x, comma, p.y, close parenthesis. And that's what it does, cout A and B. So now I can use my object A just like what? Just like integers, it doubles, it floats. The exact same way. I've now reprogrammed cout to work. I didn't plan to talk about that today, but one of you asked it, and I figured, okay. Next, if I want to calculate the distance, which was one of our objectives, distance D. I'll say, okay, what is the distance D? A, what is your distance? To B. And I can say cout, A, not AI, A is D. Okay, that's units, I like that, nice word. Units, whatever that is, from B. And we can even have fun and put down what A is too in here. So now I'm not even looking at this up here. This point, I don't really care about it. Poof, goodbye point. Goodbye, OStream. This is done. It's out of my mind. I'm not out of mind, but that's out of my mind. I said, okay, I created a couple of points here, A and B. I can print out A and B. I can ask A, how far are you away from B? And it will print out A is blank, you know, is distance units from B. And if I build and run this, I'll bring up the screen. You can see that the first cout is A and B. There's A and B. The next line I say A colon is A colon. 10 comma 10 is 14.14 units from B at 2020. Notice my main program is very, very simple. And if you look up above, you see point is more what? Complex, yes? What I want to do is I want to bury my complexities. Because down here in main, this is where I'm solving a problem. Problems are being solved in main. The thing above, point, are the tools I need to solve my problem. I just wanted to find out how far A and B are from each other. That's all. That's my problem. So I turn around and learn how to make a powerful toolbox that I can use for other problems. Has yet to be defined. It's like that old saying, build it and they will come, from that movie. It's a baseball field. The guy wanted a baseball team to come to his small town, so he built a baseball field. Either that or aliens, I don't know which.